$195,000 in workers' comp benefits.
If you've been hurt on the job, call us. We're on top of it.
Call 265-1100.
The Lookouts are back. Buy your tickets now.
Okay, a timely conversation this morning. I'm outside on the porch with Brent Burks and Jay Kennemar from the McMahan Law Firm. My good friend Jed Mescon and I were talking on the phone this morning. We kind of do every day. And he was telling me, I think it was last night on NBC Nightly News, he saw about the increased amount of traffic accidents as a result of quarantining and COVID again, that people are just kind of speeding through their lives, and across the country we're seeing an awful lot of wrecks on the road. So a great time to have y'all on the show.
Certainly. Well, you would have expected different, but
yeah,
more people are getting service to their car, curbside service. They're spending more times in their homes and their cars. So that's the only outlet they really have, unless they're going to risk going into a mall or something like that. So there was more time spent in vehicles.
Well, on my way in this morning, I was admittedly in the fast lane, but I was going a perfectly fine speed. I wasn't speeding, and all of a sudden in my rearview mirror, I kind of got afraid. There was a truck on my tail. I don't know where he came from, and I didn't know where he thought he was going to go. There was no more room for him, and he was not slowing down. So an accident can happen like that, even
Absolutely.
if you're driving correctly, right, Brent?
Like we teach our kids, drive defensively, because it makes a difference. Because no matter how careful you are, there's somebody out on that road that's not being careful. And it's maybe a topic too long for today, but texting is an epidemic.
Yeah.
Texting and driving. Just look around you when you're stopped at a red light.
I think a lot of
both
us
sides of you, and you'll see it probably
happen all the time. So I think the question that a lot of us have is, what do you do when that fateful day comes and you are involved in a wreck? We'll go with that one for a minute, because depending on the age you are, Jay, I think a lot of us are hesitant to pick up the phone and call an attorney. Human nature is going to be, oh, it's okay, I'll just deal with my insurance company and be the bigger person.
Well, that's when someone starts to be their own worst enemy. You got to go board certified and not bill board early, because you need someone that knows what to do early these days, because the insurance companies have set up each one of them has a different framework you got to deal with, but each one of them has a framework that requires suit to be filed. It's insane right now. State Farm has a system set up where you've got to file suit to get a fair offer for your client. Geico has a system set up that's similar, that you have to file suit to get some fair offer for your client. Allstate says that they won't make an offer that's fair or anywhere near fair until you take a doctor's deposition. So you have to file suit.
Okay, that's news to me. Is that something that's newly imposed, or is that long-standing?
No, well, since COVID, it has gotten worse, and State Farm has gotten worse during COVID. They've started this new thing Brent wanted to talk about.
Yeah, tell me, Brent, because you're calling it dirty tricks. That was your word.
There's a lot of dirty tricks that happen, and I respect what you're saying. A lot of people are sitting at home and they're going, I don't need to hire a lawyer. I'll try to deal with this insurance company on my own. And traditionally, that might have worked 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And as you and I talked about before we went on the air, it's sort of the American way. I'll try to work with them if they'll be fair with me. But it's just a complete misconception that an insurance company is going to treat you fair. They only care about their shareholders. Now, State Farm, which is by far the largest auto insurer, has been evaluating cases on something they call 2 times the Medicare rate. I can have a 30-year-old client, defendant runs through a stop sign or a red light, smashes into their car, sends them to the hospital for a day, and they have $20,000 in medical bills. Medicare rate on that 20 might be $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. And they're going to get, might be $4,000, and they're going to get an offer of less than $10,000 on $20,000 in medical with nothing for their pain and suffering.
It's
nothing
a fantasy.
For permanent. It's a fantasy,
yeah.
And it's not what would happen in the Hamilton County courtroom or any of the counties around this area. But yet the insurance companies will try to see if this poor person that's not represented will take that offer, and then they're left holding the bag with bills and things to pay that they didn't get compensated for.
Okay, so let me ask you a timeline here. Let's say that we'll go with the idea. 30-year-old is injured in an accident. It's not their fault.
They don't have Medicare. They're 30 years old.
Okay, but let's suppose they have private insurance through their employer. Can we go with that, or through their spouse or whatever?
Those are totally different rules. Private insurance through the employer, usually governed by federal, and they try to gobble up everything that an injured person would be entitled to.
So do you still need an attorney?
Oh, absolutely. There's different rules for ERISA plans, private plans, med pay. uninsured motorists, subrogation rules, hospital liens. There's so many traps out there. If someone tries to handle their own claim, and maybe they accept a little bit of money, but they might have just dug their own grave because they haven't dealt with the ERISA plan, the health plan,
Right.
the MedPay, what I call the wolves on the back end. They're going to be sitting there with their hands out. And Medicare, their investigators are like the IRS.
Okay, one thing I know you wanted to touch on, so I'll hit this, and then if there's time to come back to my question, we'll do it.
Sure.
Jay mentioned a second ago getting a board-certified attorney. He kind of glossed over that, but last time y'all were here, you said that you have the 3 in town board-certified attorneys in your office, correct?
Yeah, there's only 8 in this
8,
Chattanooga
okay.
area. We have 3
3.
under our roof. Our competitors don't have any.
Okay, so in
We
the
don't
course...
worry about, Google 5-star reviews
Okay.
or things like that. We're board certified.
So in the course of this last year, as the courts have been shut down, y'all knew they were going to open back up. So you've still been keeping up with your cases and working things in preparation for the courts opening.
We have everything up to date. We had our files in tip-top shape, ready to go to trial. And that, for instance, just in the last 3 weeks, we've recovered more than $3 million for our clients. Just
One
in
of
the
those
last 3
cases
weeks.
that we can't touch on involved a settlement offer that was, looking back on it, rather pathetic. And because you had your ducks in a row, you were able to almost ambush, in a way, catch them off guard, I guess.
We were
the insurance
notified.
company.
It was a North Georgia case. We were notified within days that we had trial coming up the next week. We were ready. The other side wasn't. The offer went from in the thousands to 7 figures within 48 hours because we were ready.
Okay.
There's a difference.
So now let's go back to my question, because there is a difference. We do still, most of us, have this feeling of, I shouldn't make calling an attorney the first thing. Maybe it's not that bad. Let's suppose that you're in a wreck. It's not just a simple fender bender. You're kind of hurt, but you don't yet know how bad. Should, on the way to the hospital to be evaluated, should you or someone in your family call an attorney to say, this is what we're dealing with, what should we do first?
I tell people, you got to deal with the medical situation, obviously, but
Okay.
if you are in the hospital and you know it's going to be serious and your spouse is there, your loved one, or you feel like it, call us. There's not a charge. We can come to you. If we can't come to you because of COVID protocols, we'll figure something out. We can sign paperwork electronically, but it's a free consultation. So we tell people there's no harm to find out what's going on. Let us help guide you through the process early on. As Jay touched on, people need to know, do they use their MedPay under their auto insurance? There are different rules there if it's Georgia versus Tennessee. Do they use their health insurance? A lot of people don't have any health insurance. How do I see a doctor? My back's killing me. I went to the ER, now I've got a $10,000 bill. How's that going to be paid for?
Mm-hmm.
My car's all smashed up. The insurance company, our number one thing that makes people call us is 48 hours later, 72 hours later, insurance company won't call me back.
Do you make a call to you first or the insurance company first? Because once you call the insurance company, that claim is filed, right?
Yeah, not necessarily. They
Okay.
do need to call us first. One of the best things family members can do when they're concerned about an injured family member that's on the way is to call us. We get those calls all the time. We're concerned about this. We know that our family members going to have medical treatment and they're unable to take.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, we're worried about the accident or the wreck and how things happen and
Right.
and evidence. And this is how it happened. Can you tell us if there's something we need to do right away?
And
That's a
if-
concerned family member.
And if you didn't do that, or your mind freezes in a situation like that, so you don't always think about everything going forward the right way, can you go back? Can you call y'all after the fact and you can try to make up?
You can always
Absolutely.
call us. I mean, I tell people sometimes mistakes are made. The number one mistake that we see is people will say, I thought I was going to get better. I didn't get any medical care. It's 30 days later after the wreck. I'm still hurting. What can I do?
Mm-hmm.
And if they call me day one, I would say, we don't direct people to doctors and say, you need to go get medical care if you're feeling fine. I mean, we're legitimate, reputable lawyers. And so, but if they're hurting, they're hurting. And I would always tell them an insurance company and or a jury are not going to value something if you wait 30 days. They're going to assume you weren't really hurting.
Right.
So if it is real, go get treatment. That's the number one mistake I see. And the number two mistake I see is people going ahead and giving recorded statements to insurance companies when we could sit through with that and talk to them about that. Sometimes they admit fault when they had no fault. I've seen that, and I know Jay's seen it many times. There are all kind of mistakes like that that can be made.
Last word, 30 seconds.
Well, in answer to the questions, when did they call us? Sometimes they call us late in the game. 2 of the cases I was trying this month were ones that had been through other attorneys, and the ball wasn't being carried across the finish line. So I picked him up, and sometimes have to put the pieces together late in the game. It's much easier to do it in the front end, but a lot of times the cases that I'm trying, I'm picking them up from other attorneys that weren't carrying the ball across the finish line.
All right, so here's how you can get in touch with Brent and Jay. They are the frontline lawyers, if you will, at the McMahan Law Firm, but they are part of a very well prepared and schooled team of attorneys, 3 of them board certified. Their phone number, website, right there on your screen. Their office is on Cherokee, right?
Yes,
That's
just
correct.
right over the ridge.
Right across the street from us. We're back after this.
West Jewel Knife Trading Post is everything under the sun. Huge selection of vanities starting at $2.99. Unfinished cabinets, bases, and vanities as low as $71.